Everybody, welcome back to Abscission, I believe. When last we left off, we've looked at the body, we into the morgue, we poked around at the quote-unquote rope that was holding her. Things do not look good. Or normal. It was a letter in a manila envelope. The only writing on the outside was my name, and handwriting I didn't recognize. I carefully opened the envelope and slipped the letter out. It was drawn in what appeared to be red wax on thick paper or papyrus. There was a diamond in the center, with jagged edges, a strange cluster of symbols surrounding it, perhaps an alphabet of some kind. There seemed to be a symbol near one of the corners, obscured by what appeared to be charcoal. I tried to rub the powder away. Oh, mistakes were made. Something had cut into me. That made no sense. I could see a needle woven into the fibers of the sketch. Why hadn't I seen it before? I shook my head at my failure of observation. I was not repaying Luna's faith in me so far. I washed the blood away and folded the letter back up. I knew I needed to look into who had sent it to me, but I had more pressing issues at the time. Details from my previous case, a cocaine dealing ring, were pinned on the board. My citation of bravery for the criminal case in 1983. I had others, but this was the first, and to be honest, it meant the most to me. A reminder that you can do everything you can and still fail. Ben, what happened to you? This poster from my younger days. I had quite the interest in a progressive rock in the 70s. Farm 34 was the finest example, in my opinion. The greatest hit collective. It's required listening for anyone wanting a greater understanding of life. A small selection of books on criminology with some historical references, reference books, and the occasional novel. Alright. Mark Torrance. No result. I need to try something else. Really? That's the problem. Mark Torrance. Record. Mark Torrance. It's hardly a record of a career criminal, but that often meant nothing when it came to violent crime, sadly. Address. Mark Torrance. 52 Carpenter Avenue, Building 5, Apartment 27, Ashfield, Massachusetts. 02792. Noted his address. Perhaps it was time to pay Mr. Torrance a visit. Address has been added to stamp. Oops, map. What was her name again? Don't. We did this already. I was gonna look up her name, but I can't remember what it is. filing cabinet containing both current and solved cases. It's a matter of pride that the solved cases should outnumber the unsolved. Work in progress. Please come back later. I didn't need anything from there at the moment. Nothing interesting there. Ashfield was a small town, but it certainly had experienced its fair share of tragedy. Siano can explore Ashfield using his map. Look at locations for description, and use locations to go there. Jesus. What a shithole. Apartment 27. Which one's his? Damn it, I could have found her name that way. Shit. A curse from inside, then footsteps. Nope, wrong room. There's no answer. Give me a faint sigh. The smirks too short. She seemed to radiate calm. Ma'am? Yes, do you need something? I should tell you, I don't buy from the door. I'm a detective, ma'am. Will Standover. Can I ask you a few questions about your neighbor, number 3, Mark Torrance? Mark? Just lean back a little. Is he in some kind of trouble? At the moment, I just want to talk to him, that's all. Well, then ask away. His name has come up with a connection with a Miss Serina Chandler. Is that name familiar to you? Yes, I met Serina a few times when they were dating. Always very polite, pleasant. Had a wicked sense of humor, very sharp. Interesting style of clothing, both of them do. So sad it didn't work out between them. What caused the breakup? You'd have to ask Mark. I know he was broken up about it, but he's trying to move on as far as I can tell. I think she just stopped returning his calls. Any idea why? Better to ask him. How long have you known him? Moved in a few years back, maybe 5. Moved here from Worcester, I think he said. Any family? He mentioned his pa back home. Never comes to visit, though. I get the impression there was some bad blood there. Why's that? Poor boy moved in with nothing more than a rucksack and the clothes on his back. I think he left in a hurry. Why do you think that is? Mister, I leave the mind reading to that woman with the stall in the wicker park. You didn't ask him? She narrowed her eyes. You don't prod at a wound that's hurting. You gotta let it heal. Well, fair enough. What do you think of Mark as a neighbor? Any trouble? Depends what you mean by trouble. He used to play his music loud, but a broom on the wall a few times put a stop to that. What about visitors? Anyone concerning? A few rock and roll types, all metal in their faces and black clothes, but they're just kids looking for attention. Give them a smile and they're good as gold. I like you. See, when was the last time you saw Mark? A couple of nights ago, leaving his apartment. How was he? Normal? Some quiet, you know? Nothing out of the ordinary. What was he wearing? Military jacket, a bit worn, and black jeans, I think. Boots? Big brown ones. The look on her face, concern mixed with sadness. I needed to ask her what was on her mind. Get the impression you want to ask me something? Sharp. Look, I'm no fool. I can tell that Mark is in some kind of trouble. At the moment, I'm just looking to speak to him. Don't try and lie to me, Detective. I'm good at reading people. He's a good boy no matter what you think he's involved in. All I want to know is that you'll hear him out. I don't want him hurt. Do you promise me that? I can't remember what these two... Calm. Just want to talk to him. That's always the best place to start. He'll get his say, I promise you. As honest as you seem, I trust you. Here, take this. She passed a small key, worn from years of use. He gave me a key to his apartment in case of emergencies. If he's taking something bad or he's hurt, I want you to be able to get in there and to help him. I appreciate that, ma'am. What the? No. Shit. And I'll be back. Okay. Let's see what Mark's up to. I used the key to unlock the apartment door. The unmistakable metal stench of blood hit my nostrils as soon as I entered the apartment. Mark Torrance was nowhere to be seen. The trail of gore led towards the bathroom. There was a low, irregular rustling in the darkness. He slipped on a pair of surgical gloves and got to work. It was the accumulation of rubbish, weeks all over the table. Poster for a band, Ship Blair. Never heard of them. This is about as close as I wanted to get to the bed, which is just a mattress. There's no way of telling if it had been slept in recently. Hello? It was a poorly written shopping list. The only words I could make out were beer and pizza. The fridge had a note on it. Look after yourself. Looks like Mark hadn't followed this advice. Dishes hadn't been washed for weeks. It was covered in brown stains. Mark wasn't here. It looked like he had left a lot of himself behind. Had he been attacked or had he done this to himself? Where could he be gone? More importantly, why could I still hear a rustling? It seemed to be coming from inside the sink. What the fuck? Bile rose in my throat. The rustling was the gentle waving of glistening, fleshy leaves growing out from the plug hole. The sink was slick with blood, and a lot of it, and the color looked like it had been spilled relatively recently, most likely in the last 24 hours. There's a lot of blood thickened around the plug hole. There were bloody handprints on each side of the sink, as if someone had braced themselves against it. Perhaps the blood in the sink had been vomited rather than sleeping from a wound. The leaves of the strange plant were lined with pulsing veins. Each one of them quivered like a tongue. A bloody handprint was smeared down the wall. I tried to leave further analysis for forensics. A pile of assorted viscera lay on the floor. There seemed to be an organ or two within the fleshy matter, but I couldn't recognize them. They seemed to be rotting through the blood around them was relatively... They seemed to be rotting, though the blood around them was relatively fresh. I tried not to gag. t-shirt and jeans crumpled on the floor. They were soaked with blood. There was trash in every pocket of the filthy jeans. I sifted through it and found one item of interest. A handwritten invoice from Bloodweb's tattoo studio for 2 tattoos, totaling $30 from the 14th of June. I had a little experience of commissioning tattoos, but that seemed very inexpensive. The bath was grimy, but otherwise unremarkable. The medicine cabinet mirror was smeared with covered in greasy smears. There was nothing of interest in the cabinet, but there was some mold. A toilet as filthy as the rest of the room. I didn't need or want to use it. I didn't think taking this would prove beneficial to the investigation. Nothing in the fridge looked like Mark lived on takeout food. It was filled with filthy water. Just leave it where it was. The rain was still lashing down outside. There's something under the dresser, something shiny. Polaroid. Jarring. Serina Chandler. I realized that this was the first time I had seen her with life in her eyes. I presume the man was Mark Torrance. He had an interesting style. His bloody thumbprint on the photo. It seemed that wherever Mark had gone in his mental state, he had looked at this photo before he left. Bridge in the background of the picture, probably Cobb Bridge to the east of Ashfield. I made the call in the phone booth outside to get the apartment sealed and analyzed. I doubted Mark would come back to that bloodbath. He was still alive. Where was he? Serina Challenor. I probably didn't spell it right. Actually, no, I think that's right. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, quit. Wait, no. worth a try. Yeah, I don't have anything right now. Let's go home. Apartment. I wouldn't call it a home, more like a place where I had to sleep. Desk. I tended to organize most of my life in the same way as I did my cases, but at a far lower priority. Some of the more interesting papers from the last 30 years of Ashfield's history. I saw it as a duty to know everything I could about the town, like a doctor understanding a patient's medical history. I didn't need to scour the newspapers at the moment. My life could wait. I was on a case. There was nothing I needed in the boxes, that's why I hadn't unpacked them. I've been in the apartment for around 5 years, but it was probably hard to tell. I always had been too busy to unpack everything. Easy chair, blue velvet and mahogany. Cost a few $100s, but my bag had been thankful ever since. Picture of me and Ben Drummel, my old partner. His death was a loss for all of Ashfield. My old record player, a Russian model of all things. Limit of AD 1936. I decided that I should unpack the rest of my records one day, but it was finding the time. Painting of a ruined castle from somewhere in the United Kingdom. I hadn't looked into its history, I just enjoyed the detail of the picture. A bonsai bush. My bonsai, given to me by Abigail 3 years ago. Somehow I managed to keep it alive. The same can be said about our relationship. Sort of criminology books, also a smatter of cheap thrillers, my guilty pleasure. Go to the bathroom. I didn't need the bathroom. I'd barely eaten or drank anything since yesterday. That's not healthy, man. Battered old TV. It's reported to homicide. Further details are currently being held by the APD as investigations continue. In other news, the rain continued today, but the temperature will remain high along with the humidity. Here's Stephen Hush with the sport. Okay, that sounded kind of weird. Young was sitting on the desk. She was reading something, a small book with black binding. Her face carried a curious intensity. Hank's style was familiar. It was most likely another one of Serina's. This one seemed to both convey emptiness and infinite mass. Take some rain, no? The door to the gallery was locked. Closed. Before you ask, we have no planned date for reopening. Have a moment of your time, then. Before, I don't know you, and I don't want to. Fuck off. Maybe Detective Stanhope? Well, then fuck off to Detective Stanhope. Her body was shaking with barely held emotion. It seemed like the news of Serina Chandler's death had already made its way here. I know it's a difficult time, ma'am. I just want to ask a few questions, and I'll be out of your hair. Fine. Thank you. Can I ask your name? Okay. How long you known her? This last year, sort of. What do you mean? She was looking to move up here as an artist, and I was looking for a partner to run the business. She seemed like a good fit. Phone calls before she moved. Where'd she move from? New York. She said she couldn't find a way to stand out there. Too many artists. Sensible. What's she like? What do you mean? Personality, her interests. I didn't know her that long. Let me out here. You ran a gallery together. You seem to be considering her words. I suppose she was a pretty fragile person at first, anyway. Fragile? In what way? Emotionally? Socially. She seemed to find conversation a chore. Not a chore, more like a test. You could almost hear her brain analyzing every little thing. She would ask me these dumb questions like she'd never spoken to anyone before. What's your favorite cat? A smile crosses her lips before quickly being swallowed once more. This pissed me off. I thought I'd made a huge mistake in hiring her. Then she got past it and things got better. You seemed to stop caring. Questions got like a joke. When she got to know you, felt less nervous? Maybe, but it was like one day after her birthday. What day was that? June 14th, I think. After that day, it was like she was a different person. It's the same day any trouble? Not with regards to money, that's for sure. Her paintings do well, especially her newer ones. Newer ones, you say? What do you think that is? The colors, I think, and the form. Her eyes glazed for a second. I don't know, they got this energy. What about outside of work? Any personal issues? She paused. Can't think of anything. Nothing at all? No, are we done here? I didn't need to be a detective to know she was hiding something. I had to carefully pick the right approach. Shit. I had tried talking to the old when I was going back to get back to where I was in the save to resume recording. I had accidentally picked a different one. I think I picked this one instead of this one when I was talking to the old lady, and she didn't give me the key. So what I say here may determine whether or not I can proceed. I don't know. Maybe I care for her, and perhaps you see discussing her as a betrayal. Believe me, all I'm interested in is the truth, and making sure that what happened to your friend never happens to anyone else. You can trust me on that. Tears welled in her eyes. She blinked them away, leaving lines in her mascara. Take your time. Yeah, she was in trouble. Who? No one, I mean, it was her head. Dreams, something went wrong. In what way? The last couple of months, she became more distant. Not in a sad way, but sort of blissful. I thought you said she changed for the better. She was happy, so I guess that's better, but it seemed too much, too fast. It's not good to sweat the small stuff, but at times she didn't seem to care about anything. Drug use? Took a deep breath. We did pop, but nothing harder. Dreams you mentioned, did she describe them to you? Yeah, when I asked. She said that they were full of colors at first, but then they all turned red. She said that like it was good. Talked about a garden and a queen who ruled over it, like some Alice in Wonderland shit. Said there was one tree, just one. Said she wanted to be like that tree. Said she never wanted to wake up. Stopped asking after that. Was she getting any help? Said she didn't need it. I even booked her in for some counseling, but she didn't go. I didn't know what else to do. It's all just so fucked. Thank you for your honesty. I promise I will do everything I can to make sense of all this. Thank you. You know Mark Torrance? Met him a few times when he and Serina went out. Seemed like a waste of space to me. I always thought she could do better. Glad she realized it herself in the end. Is he mixed up in all this? We're gathering facts at the moment. Have you seen him recently? No, not for at least a month. What about that day, her birthday? Did you spend it with her? I saw her in the night. We went to a club. It was her suggestion, which was surprising. I think she'd already been drinking, or something else. She was high as fuck. Never really seemed to come down after that. Tell you what she'd done in the day? Said she spent the day with Mark, got some clothes, or even a tattoo. A tattoo? Yeah, I think she wanted to impress Mark. She was really happy with it. She kept looking at it all night. I know where she got it. No, sorry. I know there are a few studios in Hopper, Berwick, and Townie Heights, but it could have been any of them. Thank you. That's all. Thank you. Wait, I have something. A book. She went back into the gallery and opened the desk, retrieving a black book she had been reading. She passed it over to me, holding on for a split second before letting go. Serina, she gave it to me a few days ago, saying I should read it. It's poetry called Dreams of the Red Queen. It can't be a coincidence. Yeah, I've been reading it, hoping to find some sort of answer to why this hell happened. Maybe you can. I trust you. Thank you. See you around, Detective. I pride myself on being well read, but I never heard of Dreams of the Red Queen or its author, Hector Rufus. A brief introduction by Anton Carmine, the man who translated the work in 1904, described him as an astrologer, poet, and seer, drawing from the inimitable spirits of Michael de Nostrum and Tycho Brahe. Shit. Isn't that the guy from Penny Arcade? The blonde one? Blondish one? Quite the claim. I always found it interesting that these soothsayers tended to die long before their predictions could be disproven. Holding the book, it seemed to fall open at one particular poem, potentially its most read. It was titled Cynthia, My Queen. When the velvet fell, I was as a child again. The horizon seemed a knife, cutting me from the material of time and purposing my soul anew. My heart vaulted, drowning in the joy of a new chance, yet tethered to the knowledge that I did not deserve. She found me there, mewling and naked, and drew me to comfort. Her arms were the land, the mountains that surrounded me, her lips the sea that kissed my skin. The roots were severed. Interesting. There was a receipt within the pages, too. The book was purchased at Carmine's Books on the north side of Mercy. Well, either way, I need to call it a video here. It's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Night of the Blues 32? This is Abscission. Aim, you know what it is. DTFN, for now. Okay, this is, just gonna start up in the middle of something, so let's see. Yeah, I finished that last part, but I looked it up and there's not much left of this game, so, I don't think so. Oh, shit, I did it again. Shit, maybe I don't have as much as I thought I did. call some people. Let's call Ben for no reason, because we know he's dead. You reach Detective Ben Drummer of APD. Leave a message and I'll get back to you. Still had Ben on speed dial. Couldn't bring myself to get rid of it. It's gonna get personal, I can tell. Hello? Hi, Abby. How are you? Dad? Fine, I guess. And you? Fine. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry I forgot your birthday. It's okay, I know you've been busy. Matt says hi, by the way. Good. He's a good guy. Glad you think so. I mean, you've only met him once. I know. Well, I won't keep you. I just wanted you to know I was thinking of you. Nice to know, I guess. Take care, Abby. You too. That went well. Really? Sorry, well, I was just trying to get some sleep. I didn't get back in until 8 a.m. I'll be back on duty later. No problem. I'll keep chasing the lead. Shall we catch up this evening? Sounds good. I'll be back at the station by 6. See you then. Sorry, I can't take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Oh, never mind then. That was a dead end. What am I missing? Work in progress. Please come back later. Ah, yes. The bookshop was closed, but would be open tomorrow, according to the weathered sign in the window. Did I miss... Oh, never mind. Officer Braintree was guarding the door to the apartment. Officer Braintree. Detective Stanhope, good to see you. I've been here long. Hogan's coordinating the scene inside. No entry until he's done, I'm afraid. I'll come back later. Must be missing something. I know I've tried this before, but let's try it again. Blood tattoo studio. Record blood web tattoo studio. God, don't do it. God, why? I missing? Okay, I found it. I need to take this and move it over to that. I stepped out onto the sidewalk. The air around me seemed to hum. People moved in and out of focus. I leaned against the fire hydrant and lost my lunch into the gutter. Exhaustion dragged me down into my knees. I couldn't even focus on the faces of those gathered around me. Some kind soul hailed me a cab and eventually found myself at my apartment. I dragged myself into a bed and almost immediately fell into a deep sleep. Blasted landscape spread around me for miles, horizon to horizon. A hot wind tore across the dust, ripping it into ashen drifts. The light of the white sun above me became blood red as it washed over the dead landscape. Where am I? I see someone in the distance, standing next to a tree. Detective Ben Drummel had been my mentor when I had started with the Force. He had tempered my worst qualities with calmly delivered advice. He had been a father figure. He had let me make vital mistakes that led to improvement. His death had almost broken me. Will you be here? There was a twinkle in his eye. Is that really the strangest thing you could think about this? Come on, Will. You can... His face suddenly dropped, his eyes widened. Then, something is wrong. That's Abscission for the time being. Really hope the rest of the game comes out soon. I'm the Blues 32. TTFN.